So we're on part 2 of victim Virginia's statement about how she was groomed into this child sex trafficking for blackmail and power enterprise run by Epstein and Maxwell. She makes it very clear in all the details exactly what happened. If you've missed any of the other parts, in the description box below this video is a link to all of my Epstein videos. So in part 2, she starts to detail the sex with other elite figures, including Prince Andrew. Part 1 detailed how she was indoctrinated and groomed. So continuing on, Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz was around Epstein frequently. Dershowitz was so comfortable with the sex that was going on that he would even come and chat with Epstein while I was giving oral sex to Epstein. From the beginning I've said, look at the people who are protesting their innocence the most. These are the ones riddled with the most guilt. The most of all of these people who've been accused so far is Dershowitz. He has been giving multiple interviews claiming he only has sex with his wife, and I think that the guilt is probably motivating him to disavow what he actually witnessed or participated in. Dershowitz was also on the legal team that got Epstein the sweetheart deal, and when he was asked if he regretted getting Epstein the sweetheart deal, he said absolutely not, because every criminal lawyer, that's their objective. Well, in a sense that's true, but there's a moral boundary. If you're going to get a guy off who's then going to go out and traffic more underage girls and create more victims, then you've got some kind of responsibility to bear for that. It's like Hillary Clinton when she was cackling about getting some sex offender off when she was a lawyer. These people are absolute psychopaths and sickos. Alright, continuing. I had sexual intercourse with Dershowitz at least 6 times. The first time when I was about 16, early on in my servitude to Epstein, and it continued until I was 19. The first time we had sex took place in New York in Epstein's home, in Epstein's room, not the massage room. In part 1 we discussed the massage was code for sex. I was approximately 16 at the time. I called Dershowitz Alan. I knew he was a famous professor. The second time I had sex with Dershowitz was at Epstein's house in Palm Beach. During this encounter, Dershowitz instructed me to both perform oral sex and have sexual intercourse. I also had sex with Dershowitz at Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, in the massage room off of the indoor pool area, which was still being painted. We also had sex at Little St. James Island in the US Virgin Islands. I was asked to give Dershowitz a massage on the beach. Dershowitz then asked me to take him somewhere more private, where we proceeded to have intercourse. Another sexual encounter between me and Dershowitz happened on Epstein's airplane. Another girl was present on the plane with us. I've recently seen a former Harvard law professor identified as Alan Dershowitz on TV calling me a liar. He is lying by denying that he had sex with me. That man is the same man that I had sex with at least 6 times. Epstein made me have sex with Prince Andrew several times. Prince Andrew, Maxwell and I are shown in the photo below. This is the famous photo now. I'll put it on the thumbnail for this video. I had sex with him 3 times, including one orgy. I knew he was a member of the British royal family, but I just called him Andy. One day when I was in London, specifically in a townhouse that is under Maxwell's name, I got news from Maxwell that I would be meeting a prince. Later that day, Epstein told me I was meeting a major prince. Epstein told me to exceed everything I had been taught. He emphasized that whatever Prince Andrew wanted, I was to make sure he got. Eventually, Prince Andrew arrived along with his security guards. The guards then went out of the house and stayed out front in their car. It was just Epstein, Maxwell and me inside, alone with Andy. I was introduced to the prince and we kissed formally, cheek to cheek. There was a lot of legal discussion about Andy and his ex-wife Fergie. Then the discussion turned to me. Maxwell said, "Guess how old she is?" Prince Andrew guessed 17. Then we all went to a Chinese restaurant for dinner and then to Club Tramp, a fancy members-only nightclub in central London. Andy arranged for alcohol to be provided to me at the club. Eventually we left. I rode with Epstein and Maxwell back to the townhouse. On the way there, Epstein and Maxwell informed me that the prince wanted to see more of me that night. Andy travelled in a separate car with his guards. We all arrived back at the townhome and went upstairs. Epstein took a picture of me and Andy with my own camera. The picture above is that picture, again the picture on the thumbnail, which has been widely circulated on the internet. Andy has his left arm around my waist and is smiling. The picture was developed on March 13th, 2001 and was taken sometime shortly before I had it developed. I was 17 at the time. So Andy, fighting back, some of his friends have been saying that the picture's photoshopped, his hands look too elongated and feminine when he has chunky fingers. Well, I'm believing the details provided by Virginia. I'm not believing his ambiguous friends. I wanted a picture with the prince because I was keeping in contact with my family. I had told my mum and my grandma that I was meeting Prince Andrew and that I'd take a picture for them. They told me to be careful. They must have sensed what was going on. After the picture, Epstein and Maxwell kissed me and said to have fun. They left Andy and me alone upstairs. We went to the bathroom and bedroom, which were just steps away from where the picture was taken. We engaged in sexual activities there. Afterwards, Andy left quickly with his security. So many people are urging me to go and video the property in London, the Maxwell property. Speaking to my cameraman today, try and get that scheduled in for next week, and we'll interview perhaps some of the neighbours and local shops and pubs, go in and see if anyone can provide any additional information. I chatted with Epstein about this the next day. I told him it went great. Epstein said something to the effect of, "You did well. The prince had fun." I felt like I was being graded. It was horrible to have to recount all these events and have to try to meet all these needs and wants. I told Epstein about Andy's sexual interests in feet. Epstein thought it was very funny. Epstein appeared to be collecting private information about Andy. Again, blackmail, power plays, getting a hold on these people, using them for favours. When I got back from my trip, Epstein paid me more than he had paid me to be with anyone else, approximately $15,000. The money was for what I had done and to keep my mouth shut about working with the prince. The second time I had sex with Prince Andrew was in Epstein's New York mansion in spring 2001. I was 17. So in England, legal age for sex is 16. So if you had sex with a 17-year-old in London, he's not broke the law technically. Morally, that's another story. Having sex in America, in American states, when the legal age is 18 and she's 17, then you've got a criminal indictment. Epstein called me down to his office. When I got there, Epstein was there along with Maxwell, Johanna, Schoberg and Andy. I was very surprised to see him again. Epstein and Maxwell were making lewd jokes about Randy Andy. It's one of the names he's been called in the press in this country over the years. I had the impression that Andy had come there to see Epstein and to have sex with me, There was no other apparent purpose for Andy to be there. I was told to go upstairs with Andy and to go to the room I thought of as a dungeon. The massage room, but it is really scary looking. I had sex with Andy there. I was only paid $400 for servicing Andy this time. The third time that I had sex with Andy was in an orgy on Epstein's private island in the US Virgin Islands. I was around 18. Epstein, Andy, approximately 8 other young girls, and I had sex together. The other girls all seemed and appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't really speak English. So in the video I did about Jean-Luc, he was trafficking women from Europe for Epstein, as young as 12 that we know, the triplets. They were also bringing in East European girls. This correlates with what we know from the other elements of this criminal organization. Epstein laughed about the fact that they couldn't really communicate, saying that they were the easiest girls to get along with. My assumption was that Jean-Luc Brunel got the girls from Eastern Europe, as he procured many young foreign girls for Epstein. They were young and European looking and sounding. Afterwards, we all had dinner by the cabanas. The other girls were chatting away among themselves, and Epstein and the prince chatted together. I felt disgusted and went quickly to my own cabana that night and went to sleep. Prince Andrew must have flown out early the next morning, as I did not see him when I got up. I have seen Buckingham Palace's recent emphatic denial that Prince Andrew had sexual contact with me. The denial is false and hurtful to me. I did have sexual contact with him, as I have described here, under oath. Given what he knows and has seen, I was hoping that he would simply voluntarily tell the truth about everything. I hope my attorneys can interview Prince Andrew under oath about the contacts and that he will tell the truth. So, that is part 2 of Virginia's testimony in court. Looks like we're only about a quarter to a third of the way through her entire statement, so lots more videos pending on this one. If you're enjoying the videos, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Subscription box is in the corner of this video, bottom left corner. And also appreciate your comments and likes. If you want to click over to my other videos, in the description box below this video there's links to my popular true crime podcast and other links and stuff about Assange, what I've been doing with David Icke, etc. There are donation links. There's also links to my socials if you want to get in touch. Hope you're enjoying these. Cheers from London.